As soon as they heard gunfire, these journalists who worked close to Charlie Hebdo's offices headed to the roof of their building. They witnessed the start of 3 days of unprecedented attacks on France. 2 men had stormed into the headquarters of the satirical publication during its editorial meeting. Charb, the editor-in-chief, and other well-known cartoonists were the prime targets of the attack. On their way out, the 2 armed men killed a policeman who was trying to stop them. 12 people died in the attack and others were severely injured. The 2 men fled by car and, after hijacking another vehicle, managed to leave Paris. The biggest manhunt in France's modern history began. Police managed to establish the identities of the attackers thanks to an ID card left in one of the cars. The Kouachi brothers became the most wanted men in France. In the evening, President François Hollande addressed the nation.
France has always vanquished its enemies when it has united around its values, and that is what I invite you to do. To come together in all its forms, that's what our response must be. Let's come together against this ordeal, and we will prevail.
And all across the country, tens of thousands of people spontaneously took to the streets, like here, Place de la République in Paris. Je suis Charlie, I am Charlie became the slogan of a population shocked by this terrorist attack. On Thursday morning, the country woke up to the news of another attack. In the Montrouge suburb, south of Paris, a driver had opened fire, killing a policewoman before escaping. A few hours later, authorities announced that the 2 suspects in the Charlie Hebdo massacre had robbed a petrol station in the Picardy region, 100 kilometers northeast of Paris. An employee recognized them, adding they were heavily armed with assault rifles and a rocket-propelled grenade. The Interior Minister announced that 88,000 forces were mobilized to hunt down the Kouachi brothers. Several arrests were also made in connection with the attack. Large numbers of special forces were deployed in Picardy, searching houses and questioning residents. Flying over the zone, helicopters equipped with thermal imaging cameras to detect potential human presence in the area's forests. At noon that day, the whole of the country observed a minute's silence to remember the victims. An emotional moment for a nation trying to cope with the tragedy. In the evening, more rallies across France showed that the wave of solidarity was there to stay. Friday morning, around 8 o'clock, the Kouachi brothers clashed with police at a roadblock in Seine-et-Marne. The suspects were now barely 40 kilometers north of Paris, and they stormed into a printing building in the small town of Dammartin-en-Goële. It was suspected they had a hostage with them. An 8-hour-long siege began. The 2 men were cornered, surrounded by heavy police presence. Special forces were ready to intervene. But first, they would need the green light from President François Hollande, who back in Paris was monitoring the situation minute by minute with some of his key ministers. At 1 p.m, news came in of another attack in Paris's Porte de Vincennes. A man had entered a kosher supermarket, shooting several customers and holding others hostage. It soon became clear he was the man who had killed a policewoman in Montrouge the day before. His name, Amédi Coulibaly. News emerged that he had told police there would be a bloodshed if forces arrested the Kouachi brothers. It appeared there was a connection between the attacks. Around 5 p.m, the Kouachi brothers stormed out of the Dammartin printing building, firing at forces who retaliated, killing the 2 men. The man thought to be their hostage was in fact hiding on the premises and had managed to communicate with police, offering valuable tactical information. He was found terrified, but unharmed. Only a few minutes later, another raid was carried out in Porte de Vincennes this time. Hostage taker Amédi Coulibaly was shot dead, and hostages managed to escape, but 4 had been killed. This was the end of the 2 sieges. Coulibaly claimed to be killing in the name of the Organization for an Islamic State, while the Kouachi said they were sent by Al-Qaeda in Yemen. President Hollande later addressed the nation, saying France needed to remain vigilant.
We are a free people. We don't give in under pressure. We are not afraid. Our ideal is bigger than us. We will defend whenever peace is under threat. Once again, I praise our soldiers who protect us against terrorists.
Never had France been targeted by such a string of attacks in 3 days. In the wake of this tragedy, President Hollande warned against the risks of division and tensions between religious communities. He said these fanatics had nothing to do with real Islam and that France needed to remain united.